Welcome to I Heart Geek. And welcome to another episode of I Heart Geek, coming straight out of my growing up childhood's movie soundtrack.
Oh.
If that makes sense.
Really?
Yeah, we're doing a little John Hughes today.
I guess he did kind of spread across. You're a little younger than me, but
A bit younger,
He was
yeah.
there. He was there.
Yeah, old
I
man.
was going to say if we mashed our childhoods together, but then I wanted to throw up into my mouth.
That just sounds like something no one wants to see. So I am Dub, and I'm your producer, I guess. Yeah, and I'm going to edit this stuff and hopefully edit all the bad stuff out.
Is there bad stuff?
There usually is.
What kind of bad stuff?
If you pay attention enough, usually I miss something on my editing. Okay, and to my left.
Hi, this is Sean the Bearded Wonder.
Wow, we missed you. Haven't seen you in a while.
I know it's been a minute. I got projects. I'm directing Bus Stop at LVLT, and there's a Christmas version of Tournament of Kings, so I've been in a lot of rehearsals.
That's the one I want to see.
Nice.
Yeah,
Okay,
Merlin
yeah.
makes it snow, just saying.
Oh.
He doesn't make it rain. We don't have that kind of budget, but he makes it snow.
This makes me
That's
excited. Nice. And then a voice from the long lost past. Dude, I've missed you. We have the Black Geek himself, Carl.
How's everyone doing? It's Carl, the Black Geek.
Carl is here.
I too have been on project, world domination, multi-dimensional hopping, multiverse things, stuff like that.
I think so, Carl, but where are we going to get a cat and an air compressor at this hour?
Only Sean.
And I'm Blythe. I'm the YouTube guy, and I've been around. I've
The
been.
Udom.
Wait a minute.
Well, I didn't say I was missing you.
Wait a second.
Wait, what?
Blythe is on this show? How old are you, son?
Oh man, old enough to know that.
Don't.
All right.
This is going to be some thin eyes.
These are the greatest movies ever.
Okay, and that
These
was
would
going to be my
these
ringtone.
would be like oldies classics for him.
This is like when I was a kid and used to listen to like 50s in my dad's car.
Yeah, it's
This
kinda
is
like
kinda the
that.
same thing.
That's
isn't it?
what this is. gonna
Blythe
be
was blessed
equivalent to.
with Jay and Silent Bob, and they reference it a lot. So
Yeah,
he's
A
good at-
lot.
That's true.
There you
That's
go. And
that's
Ready
where
Player
my
One,
knowledge
too.
came from.
I'll get something on that in a minute.
And who are all these people? God, there's so many people here today.
There's a ton of people. It's
All
nice,
these,
isn't it?
Like blasts from the past and
From the
Blythe's.
current. And Dub. I mean,
Dub's here, and I'm here, and I'm PB and Jason.
cool.
And I did. Go ahead, Sean.
We
sorry.
definitely need. I definitely miss having one of the beautiful ladies here with us at the panel, because right now, if we all stood next to Carl, we'd make the number 10,000.
Oh wow!
There are no words.
Sean, thank you for being on the show.
The door
There's
is
the
that way.
door.
That's my time. Thanks, folks. Tip your waitress.
Today's show is brought to you by Teen Angst or something. I think that's about where we got on
That's
that
about
one.
all I got written down on that one. Like teen angst or something. That's all I
Or
could-
something.
Yeah, or something.
Okay. Yeah, before we start, we're talking John Hughes today. Why is he so important to geek culture? This wasn't on the script, but I really wanted to ask this.
Well, maybe because
Everything.
Maybe because before being a geek became kind of cool as it is now, he was featuring geeks in his films when it was not yet cool.
Yeah, his geeks were highlighted
Yeah,
in
his
almost
geeks
all
were-
of his
yeah.
movies. Yeah.
His
And-
geeks were cool. I mean, who didn't
Well,
want to?
yeah,
who didn't
kind
want to
of.
be Ducky? You know? So even like
You wanted to be
We'll get
you wanted to
into
be
it.
Jake Ryan. No, you didn't want to be Ducky.
No, I wanted to be Ducky. Are you kidding me?
He made heroic type characters out of geeks long before anybody else did.
Yeah, but my parents would argue he also was to blame for many melted Barbie dolls in my house.
But I mean, think about it. It's so referenced in every other facet of pop culture. You can find a John Hughes reference in almost everything. Maybe not sci-fi, but everywhere else, maybe.
Yeah, but he kind of wrote the book on those types of movie, like the teenage angst movie.
It's like safe angst.
Angst. Would
It's
you
safe
really consider them angst?
I always referred to them as socially relevant teenage dramas.
There you go.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
Yeah, but I mean, he definitely took the forefront and did something that nobody else did, and wrote it from the perspective, not only about them, but from the perspective of them, and kind of brought a light to demographic of people who really, until that point, really hadn't been brought out.
See,
Yeah, there's also he was also genre bending in a lot of ways, and I don't want to get way too, there's lots of questions coming up that this could be good fodder for, but like Breakfast Club, that was almost like a Pinter idea in film. Like before
that should have been a 3-minute little
before
blurb.
that, if someone came in and said, okay, bunch of kids in detention, hanging out, having deep emotional conversations, they would have been like, get out and take your script with you. But Hughes turns it into a movie that is still celebrated to this day.
See, a good comparison would be, okay, so take Revenge of the Nerds, which was kind of in the same era. Okay.
Fair enough.
Not a bad movie. It had its moments, but Hughes took things into a place that was a little bit more depth. Revenge of the Nerds was so surface, and sight gag and stuff like that. And that's really not him, so Hughes so much. I mean, maybe a little bit, but not so much. He's more into, some of the amazing dialogue, reaching depth that you didn't expect, or didn't even expect to see in this type of film.
Yeah.
Whichever film he did.
Yeah.
Yeah, he I don't know, he raised the bar on the nerd,
Well, I wouldn't even say raised. I think he actually set
Created
a full bar.
it.
Yeah,
Set the bar.
he would have created
He
it because prior
discovered
to
the
that,
bar.
Revenge of the Nerds was not for the nerds. That's
No,
for
yeah.
the jocks that wanted to laugh at the nerds.
He said last call at the bar. Oh, sorry.
well, I mean, if you think about it, his movies were like Bly said, his movies were given from that perspective. Revenge of the Nerds was a comedy. It was meant to be a comedy. It was meant for something to get slaps and laughs out of. And most of John Hughes' movies are not. I mean, they're comedic,
but they're not ha-ha.
But the tone isn't always. If you think about it, 16 Candles. It's a story about a girl on her 16th birthday, and everything's being overshadowed on her 16th birthday, and
They've literally forgotten it.
Yeah, and you get her perspective. And if you've ever been a middle child, you understand how that feels. So I really believe that he created the bar for that genre.
I could go for that.
Nice. Okay, let's put a pin in this right now because we're going to stay here all day if we don't.
Right.
So let's do our game show.
Here's a generic game show for you.
All right, game show time, kiddos. I wrote a game show here for this show. There are 11 questions, ranging through the John Hughes creative well of ideas. These there's multiple point opportunities on this depending on the details. Okay, so details are important if you want to have a shot at winning the game show. Are all of you prepared to begin this exercise
This sounds so daunting.
into the world of John Hughes?
I apologize in advance because
You're
he
slay
is
everybody?
my all-time favorite.
Oh, okay.
So-
So don't even try is what he's saying.
We'll see.
That was Sean for trash talk.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
see. We'll
I'm
see,
sorry,
because he
guys.
did like a-
John Hughes is like one of my favorites, and I'm going to slaughter all of you. Beautiful. Okay, you guys ready?
Outstanding.
All right, number one. Now, this one is if you got to get up and leave if you don't get this first one.
See you
Bye.
guys later.
What fictional Chicago suburb do many of John Hughes' films take place dub?
Sherman, Illinois.
You didn't write Sherman. Tell me that you did not write
I thought
Sherman.
that was what was Sherman, Illinois. I screwed up.
You
It's
wrote
me.
Sherman, really?
Yeah, I did.
It is.
Okay. No, incorrect.
I get the
Really?
points for Illinois.
No, that was a 1-point question. Sorry. Number two, Sean.
Saturday morning, Shermer High School, Shermer, Illinois. We were brainwashed.
Shermer, Illinois.
Shermer, Illinois.
Very good. Yes, correct.
That was what it was too.
Carl.
I put Springfield.
Springfield. This is not The Simpsons.
Are
you sure?
So I guess we all have to leave now. Is that under Jason's rules?
Yeah, me and
And
Sean will finish
it's
the game
only
show.
going to get worse from here, is what he's saying.
All right.
About to be a
Lies.
2-man podcast.
Lies.
It is Buellertown, New Hampshire.
Oh, no, it is not. All right. Okay, I guess Sean and I can either have a conversation or we can continue the show. All right, we'll continue the game show. Here we
I
go.
guess that's an automatic win for Sean.
Congratulations, Sean.
Thank you, thank
All right,
you.
number two. What does Del Griffith, who was in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, sell? Dub.
Used porta potties.
No,
I didn't
Sean.
think so.
Well, he sells shower curtain rings, but he also sells them as jewelry and other objects.
Yeah,
as well.
yeah. Show off. Shut up.
Like stuff that you could buy at the Redbubble. I'm sorry.
You are
I'm
correct. Carl.
I put insurance.
Incorrect, Blythe.
Gonna be able to hang up that I Heart Geek shower curtain with the shower curtain ring.
Shower curtain rings. Excellent, Blythe.
Blythe, you
Blythe
On
was
the
it.
board. All right, number 3. Why were Brian Johnson, played by Anthony Michael Hall, and Allison Reynolds, played by Ali Sheedy, respectively, in detention? So you get a point for each correct answer. Dub.
Allie was bored, so she did nothing. And Brian felt let's see, it was a failed suicide attempt with a flare gun that went off in his locker.
Correct for both. 2 points.
That was a lot of detail. I should get more than 2.
This guy's fishing.
I had
for
the same
points.
answer. She was bored, and he had a flare gun that went off in his locker.
Correct. Carl.
I had skipping school in a fight.
Incorrect.
That was the other 2.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I actually realized
That's
that.
Molly Ringwald and
Lies.
I put setting fires and giving kisses.
Incorrect.
is chewing bubble gum and kicking butt.
I would argue.
And I'm out of bubble
a
gum.
point for him
Well,
by setting fires
I
in the
guess set in the
locker.
fire because of the flare gun setting up
Yeah.
and exploding.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, Jason. Wow.
I'll be nice. Yeah, okay.
It's
Here I
a
am
virus. It
lobbying for
spreads.
other people's points.
Thanks, Sean,
Yeah.
for that. That was
Thank you, Sean.
the bearded
welcome.
wonder
Yeah.
gave you a point. All right. Number 4. What specific kind of car did Cameron's father own from Ferris Bueller's Day Off? Dub.
There's a Ferrari.
It was a Ferrari. You'll get a point for that. You could
Alright.
get more points if you could give me more details.
It was red.
If my data bank of lines in my head serves me, it was a Ferrari 250 GT.
Correct.
Bam! Yes, I wasn't sure on that.
Okay, so everyone just quit. Sean wins.
Carl.
I have Ferrari. I knew it was a Ferrari. I knew
Carl
it was,
has a point.
yes. I knew it was a red Ferrari.
Lies.
I put Corvette.
You put a Corvette. Incorrect.
It's not Prince. It's not a leader.
All right, so it was a 1961 Ferrari 250 GT California Spider.
California Spider, California Special.
California Spider.
Did they actually say that in the movie?
California. I don't know if they
does, he
said
does.
Spiders. Yeah, I think they
I
did.
think
He
it's
describes
special.
it in
Definitely
the
the
garage
California.
when he's telling him.
Oh, yeah, when he's
and
talking
about
about
how
it.
few were made and why they can't take it.
Right,
Yep.
excellent. Okay, number 5. Farmer Ted, played by Anthony Michael Hall in 16 Candles, had 2 sidekicks for a potential of 4 points. Who played them and what were their names in the movie and who played them? Dub.
I don't know. Was that John Cusack in one of them? I don't know.
That is 1 point for Dub.
Woo, I guess. Yay.
Sean.
Do the wave.
Yeah, I can't remember. I can see them and I can't remember their names. The only actor I can remember is John Cusack. I had the same.
Correct.
And they were so
1
awkward.
point.
Yeah, they were. They were great.
Carl.
I put Billy and Bob.
Incorrect and incorrect.
I wish it was Long Duck Dong.
Man, I wish you'd have Hail Married that and got both of those. That would have been amazing.
And Blythe.
I put Chip and Dale.
Incorrect. The Chipmunks. Nope, they are not. Nope. It was John Cusack as Bryce and
right.
Darren Harris as Cliff Wheeze.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I don't know as much about Hughes as I thought I did after this.
All right. Number 6. What real life theme park were most of the Wally World scenes filmed at? Dub.
Six Flags.
Six Flags Magic Mountain is correct.
Wow.
Six Flags Magic Mountain.
Correct.
I actually knew this one. Six Flags got Magic Mountain.
Correct.
Because there's no way they could afford Disney.
That's the only reason I knew that.
Six Flags Magic.
Correct. All right.
I remember wanting to go to Six Flags after I saw that for the very first time. I didn't know it was a real place.
And Wally
Those
World
are actually
from
the scary. That have the scary roller coasters.
Wally
Yeah.
World from Vacation. I
Yes.
didn't
Yes.
mention that, but okay. So here we go. Number 7. In Home Alone, how many kids do the McAllisters have that they themselves spawned, not relatives?
I'm going back and forth, but I'm kicking myself because I know I'm wrong. But I think it's 4.
Incorrect.
I'm going with 3. I believe there was one sister, 2 brothers.
Incorrect.
Oh,
I put 5.
Correct.
Nice.
which one? Okay.
I just remember. I remember that being the count when she was doing the final count, and that's when they realized Kevin wasn't there.
Right. Correct. 5 is the correct answer. Blythe.
How about 8?
Incorrect. All right.
Is it the Culkin character you think is the other brother? Because he wasn't a brother. He was, a...
I just wrote 5.
Okay.
And that's what all my sources said.
Whatever.
All right, number 8 in Pretty in Pink. What song does Ducky, played by John Cryer, lip sync in the store?
Like a Virgin.
No, incorrect.
Right era. Come on.
I think he might have beat my Hail Mary on that one.
Sean.
To quote John Cryer, this is Otis. I love Otis. It's Otis Redding, Try a Little Tenderness.
Correct
Oh,
for 2
good one.
points. Carl.
I put Kung Fu Fighting.
It should have been Kung Fu Fighting.
Should have been.
It
That would have
should
been great. Incorrect. Blythe.
Put Blue Suede Shoe by Elvis Presley.
Incorrect and incorrect, but very good guesses all around. Someone is dominating this game show as they predicted.
Gee, we all
So
know.
That's good. All right,
my
number
Bring him back for the Superman game.
number 9. Number 9. What does Chet offer Gary in Weird Science to try and make him puke? Dub.
A greasy pork sandwich.
Oh, that's right.
There's more.
Yeah, there is more.
Oh, I don't remember the rest. It's a greasy pork sandwich.
Oh, I
That's a
can't.
point.
Give it to
That's-
him.
I'm
That's a
Don't
point.
give it
No,
to
you
him.
It's
get
not
to-
like I'm gonna
No,
win.
you only get a half. Sorry, you get a half
Give him
point for
half
that.
a point.
Man.
Okay.
Remember this next
Tough
time I do a
crowd.
game show, Jason.
What? Like you ever show me any mercy? Sean.
How about a nice greasy pork sandwich served in a dirty ashtray?
Correct. Very good. Point for Sean. Carl.
I just put his foot.
His foot.
He
Incorrect.
offered his foot.
And Blythe.
Ipecac.
Nice. Incorrect.
I like it. I like it. I don't know.
Okay, so number 10 is my Price is Right question. I did a quick count watching a video, and it was hard to do, so there's a margin of error, but I came up with a number for this question. If you are the closest one will get a point, and if you happen to get it exact, you'll get 5 points. Are you guys ready?
It's a game changer.
Yes.
All right. At the end of She's Having a Baby, there are numerous celebrity appearances of people doing baby name suggestions for the Riggs couple. How many baby name suggesters appear in the end credit scene?
The same answer I pick for everything that is a number that I don't know the answer to, and that would be the answer to everything 42.
Okay, you're at 42. Sean?
You know, this one is not my area of expertise, so I'm just throwing out a 12.
12.
Yeah, She's Having a Baby is not one of my favorites.
Carl?
I threw a
That
guess of
soundtrack, though.
9 out there.
9.
$1.
I feel like I'm way off.
Blythe?
I put 8.
Okay. Dub gets the point.
What?
How did that
Nice.
even happen?
The
I have
worst.
no idea.
The actual number that I counted was 78.
Nice.
Holy crap.
Seriously?
Yes.
Nice.
And then for an
Way off.
additional point going all the way around, what name did they sort of settle on?
Kate Bush, because that was like the greatest song in the
No.
world that they put in that.
No clue.
Nope.
I guess
I
I
put
can hint.
Ethan.
Nope.
I put Lance.
No.
Was it Long Duck Dong?
It was Christopher.
Hey, Ethan's close.
There we go.
Okay, now this is the list question, and of course we got to make them count. You get 1 point for each one you get right. John Candy and John Hughes were very, very good friends. John Candy appeared in more of Hughes's movies than I believe any other actor on repeat appearances. What films did John Candy appear in that are related to John Hughes? There are 8 potential correct answers. You will get a point for each. Dub.
Uncle Buck.
Correct.
Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Correct.
Great Outdoors.
Correct.
Home Alone.
Correct.
Blues Brothers.
Blues Brothers is John Landis.
I thought he had something to do
But
with
that's
it.
a good try. All right. Sean.
Vacation,
Correct.
Uncle Buck,
Correct.
Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Correct.
Home Alone,
Correct.
Great Outdoors,
Correct.
and I don't know if Hughes was involved in this, but Summer Rental.
He was not.
Okay,
But that's a
I
good
can't
movie.
believe I forgot Vacation.
so I'll take my 5 points and
Yep,
run.
you got it. Okay, Carl.
I get 3 out of those. I got Plane, Trains, and Automobile, Uncle Buck, and Vacation.
All right, gotcha. Okay, Blythe.
Planes, Trains, and Automobile.
Correct.
That's it.
That's it.
Excellent answer, sir.
He said with such conviction.
Once again, he's
Okay.
trying to prove that he's the youngest person at the table.
All right. So there were 8. Vacation, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. He did appear in the end credits of She's Having a Baby as one of the namers. The Great Outdoors, Uncle Buck, Home Alone. He was also in Career Opportunities, and he was in Only the Lonely. Both are Hughes produced, written productions.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Cool.
Now, let me look at the points here real quick.
Really?
You really got to look at it.
Okay.
Do you even have to? Come
Coming
on.
in last, no surprise, the baby man over here of the group, the 30-year-old, the kid who was born way after all this stuff was already out.
Dude, I'd be Blythe. I'm happy with that. I didn't think that was happening.
Blythe's at 4
I
points.
think it's the worst game show I've ever had.
Yeah, I kind of think that is.
It feels real
You
bad to
could
lose
not
to Dub.
be a gun.
Oh, shut
I
up.
know. Dude,
hurt.
tell me
It
about it. I
hurts.
know. All right.
Blythe could not be a gunter.
Coming in third, Carl with an impressive 6 points.
I pulled off that extra one there with knowing how many kids.
You did.
Yes, sir.
Dub comes in the game at 10.5 points.
Nice.
In third.
Yeah, that's
You got a whole half in
respectable.
there.
I can't complain.
Dominating the win, though, is our bearded wonder with 16 points.
Nice, I'll take it.
Sean.
And
winner of
now
the game
you
show.
got to go to the bathroom for performance-enhancing drugs because I think you just took that way too far on that one.
Congratulations, Sean. You are the winner.
He took the limitless pill. That's what
That's right.
happened. I don't think you've ever won a game show, have you, Sean?
No, I don't think so. I think that's my first game show win.
Nice. Well, take this home.
See what
put it
happens
on your
when
mantle.
you see what happens when you
right.
try.
That's right. Yes.
It's funnier when he doesn't. Let's be completely honest. Okay, so let's get right back into the work of John Hughes. Personally, like I said, that's our generation growing up. Most of us at the table. There was a very personal effect with John Hughes movies. Which one did you most relate to? Or character or whatever. This is an open conversation, of course. But what did you relate to most with the John Hughes movies? Let's start with you, Carl. I think you got something there, bud.
As a child, Ferris Bueller, I thought I was the coolest kid in school. And it was the first movie I had got to see by myself in the movie theater. So after seeing that, and I don't know, I was like the 3rd or 4th grade. I remember just wanting to emulate that. As an adult, I am so Cameron.
We're all a lot more Cameron than we
I am
want
a
to
complete
believe.
Cameron now.
When Carl was in
Egypt's land.
Oh,
Oh, that happens often. Ask my wife. I sing that in the bed all the time.
For me, it's easily Breakfast Club, and I can tell you that I could pretty much promise that I've seen that no fewer than 100 times, and it was one of those things. I just watched it over and over as a kid. The first monologues that I memorized were from that movie, and it was super
And that
relatable
soundtrack.
to me. Yeah, I mean, it's
well,
just
the one
amazing.
good song from it. The other one sucked.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I want to hit on this just for a second before we go to everybody else. With the Breakfast Club, for me, that movie was like that told me kind of how I'm supposed to feel growing up, and if that makes sense. It wasn't. It's not like brainwashing, but it's like, oh, so this is what I'm supposed to feel like. I get that now, and no other movie had done that before that, or even really since.
Or validated how you
How you felt.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, and it's still, when people ask me for my top 5, it's still way up there. So,
And that "Don't You Forget About Me" was such a great
Yeah.
song. That last scene.
yep.
I'm gonna let Blythe see if Blythe has something to add to this before I add my.
Or
piece.
is anything important
Or
in
is
John
anything?
Hughes?
Does anything in John Hughes?
I guess it would have to be the Breakfast Club because I was in detention a lot.
Oh, actually.
That's where you learn how to code.
Don't
Yep.
say.
I thought it'd be Home Alone. Because you're about that age. I mean,
Yeah, I guess. I forget that. I think.
there's so many movies you forget.
Yeah, there's so many movies that you forget that he actually did, like the Home Alones and the Beethoven and things like that. So, yeah.
He was involved with Beethoven. Yes, that's true. Okay, so John Hughes is very interesting for me because in the first pass of the John Hughes movies, I didn't really like any of them. That wasn't my
Really?
thing. Really, in the first pass, I was like sci-fi kid. I was much more into grand spectacle, big sci-fi, things like that. Now, when I came around, probably in my 20s, I would say, and gave those movies a second second run, like after I met my girlfriend who became my wife and all that. A lot of experience in those again, like with her and stuff like that. I definitely formed some stronger opinions, both positive and slightly negative, about some of his films. Now, this is the only thing I'm going to say, and I know this is going to stir the pot. So I'm saying this this is my problem. Let me put it that way. It's my problem.
Well,
I don't think this is your guys' problem.
I'm
It's my
concerned
problem.
because he's looking directly at
He is
us.
Well,
Dubs.
no,
Yes.
okay. I'm not the hugest fan of The Breakfast Club. Now I know people again relate to that, embrace that, and I understand it. But to me, yes, there were jocks, there were stoners, there were geeks, there were the popular girls, and there were the weird people, the goth people. They were there. But when I saw them as presented in The Breakfast Club, I was like, these are caricatures, absolute caricatures. I cannot relate to them as they are. Now, not that I thought the dialogue of the movie was great. You know, I liked the movie overall. I think it's a good movie. But they were presented to me in a way that's like, okay, this is not hitting on the realism, and I don't even know if it needed to. I mean, again, this might be my problem.
Dub, get my gun. Blythe, turn your head.
But,
It'll be okay.
No, but no, Breakfast Club to me, those characters were caricatures.
Can I present a thought to you?
Sure,
Is
go
that-
ahead.
yeah. Well, first of all, I wanted to say that I've always defended you, but now you're dead to me. No. Kidding aside, I would argue that was intentional because the whole point was to break down the stereotype. Was that they came in as, you know, when they first walked in, they were caricatures of all of those archetypes. But as it went on, we found out that, you know, the goth girl was pretty, and the brain had his, you know what I mean? Like everyone was kind of brought back to the everyman. And that's my thought there.
So my other criticism of that, relating to that, is that those conclusions were drawn too quickly on a day of detention. Now, if this were presented in a
It was
book,
a long day, though.
if this were presented in a book with maybe multiple detentions, I probably could get behind that idea a little more. But to me, it was like, here are a bunch of characters with a very neat fix. Very neat, very easy fix.
No, I can see your point. I think that
It's
sometimes
wrong, but I can see it.
Sometimes in cinema, we're asked to suspend disbelief and telescope the moment. So I totally
Sure.
agree with you, but I do agree with Dubs too that like I have definitely had, like, you know, there was one point in my life when I was doing auditions on the East Coast and I was taking a bus, and that ride is 57 hours, and in 12 hours of sitting next to someone, you can find out a lot about that person. So.
Sure.
But
But let me say again, Breakfast Club is a good movie. Don't get me wrong. I don't dislike the film overall.
Well, but before you keep going on that, the very important part of this is 11 and 12-year-old Dub. There's no way that would have made any difference one way or the
Sure.
other. That's why we hold these films in such reverence, because of the time in our lives. That's why it's probably not as big a deal,
Yeah,
because you watched them when you were older.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to say, is that I did watch them when I was older and not as I was growing up. So
Is this your version of Degrassi?
so yeah, it you look at a film more critically when you're older as opposed to when you're still a kid.
It's all emotional based because it hits every right emotion.
And
Yeah.
I
With the
don't
Breakfast Club
think
thing.
what Jason's saying is bad. All he's saying is that he wants a 8-episode Breakfast Club miniseries.
Yeah, I probably would. Yeah,
I'd be okay with that.
Yeah, and I don't disagree. I just I think that I just see it in a different perspective, and I think also too that we could be looking at it through the lens of nostalgia.
Yeah.
I'd be curious if I had never seen it before and watched it tomorrow, if I'd be like, man, come on.
But I don't think
you
I
know?
could let that go if I was to watch it tomorrow. I couldn't
No, you
let that go.
you couldn't, because you
There's
grew
no
up
way.
with it. I mean, that's the thing about nostalgia. Is
It's
that-
like
Cloud-
it's
it
like
clouds
Christmas. No
everything.
matter how bad your Christmas is,
Yeah.
every Christmas you had when you were a kid, you remember that, and every Christmas is beautiful.
But here's your opportunity, okay? So the character that I ended up relating to the most, again, I saw the Hughes movies on a second pass a lot with my girlfriend who became my wife and all that. Character that I related to the most was Jake Briggs from She's Having a Baby. Their relationship,
the Kevin Bacon character,
Kevin Bacon,
Okay.
yes. Their relationship and the relationship I had with my wife before we had children. We, you know, there was a lot to relate to. My second favorite movie from him is She's Having a Baby. And then after we had children, because we had children later than a lot of people, yeah, that movie still
that
holds,
hits you. That hits you as a dad.
Still holds huge moments of impact.
I
with me,
mean,
for sure.
when Kate Bush starts singing the this
This
woman's work,
yeah.
Oh,
like
man.
that's like
You're
that's
not-
like old Yeller status. You know,
I
like,
don't trust you
I don't
to
have to
cry
have had
during that,
kids
you know?
to be like, you know, turn into Sean the Goat Boy. It's just so beautiful.
You kind of made my day on this. You know, and I you know, I don't know if you guys knew this, and I'm on IMDb right now, and this is just something that's really cool. Did you know that John Hughes played Brian's dad in Breakfast Club?
I did know that.
Yeah,
I
actually,
was
now
not
that you
aware
say
of
it,
that.
yeah.
In the car,
Which
yeah.
is kind of cool.
Side note, just before we move away from this, because I can feel the time wrapping up, I just wanted to say that if you haven't seen it, there's a really beautiful documentary. I believe it's called Finding John Hughes. I believe.
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
And it is just amazing. And one of the things that I love about it is that part of the reason that he wrote the way he wrote and did the things he did and never really did the camp or the cliche movies is because he had a fan that he had a correspondence with. And whenever he would look at a project, he would decide whether or not she would approve of it. And it's just like,
That's
but
cool.
if
That's
you've
cool.
never seen the documentary, it's pretty outstanding.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I do know he mentioned that Molly Ringwald was his muse.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, you
That's-
should check it
that's
out.
weird
It's-
to me.
It's a pen pal relationship that he had with a fan that grew over time, and yeah, it's just really wonderful. So if you haven't seen it, Finding John Hughes is really great.
Nice.
So something else I want to hit real quick is some of the movies that you probably didn't even realize John Hughes did. I was talking to Courtney about this. She said, I just looked at the IMDb. She said she couldn't be on the show. She's never seen a John Hughes movie. Then she looked at that. I was like, I've seen about half of those. I didn't know he was involved. So, I mean, the big ones we all know about, you know, The Breakfast Club, Pretty in Pink, Weird Science, yada, yada. Beethoven's Fifth, all of those horrible dog movies, he did those. He did
Well, we got to remember he had 3 distinct roles through
Yeah.
films. He was a writer,
a director.
a director, and a producer. And sometimes he doubled up and even tripled
Yeah.
up on a couple of them.
Right.
But there were some like The Pretty in Pink and Some Kind of Wonderful. A lot of people think that he directed those, but that was Howard Dutch.
Yeah.
So he
He wrote Flubber.
he wrote Flubber. Yes,
He wrote 101 Dalmatians, so he was involved in Disney. He did the screenplay for the 1994 version of Miracle on 34th Street. Home Alone, we all knew that one. I'm just kind of looking through Uncle Buck, which honestly I think is a really underrated film in his...
Same.
Yeah.
It was great.
It was wonderful.
And that was actually Macaulay Culkin's first foray into Dutch, which I don't know if you guys remember that movie.
Yeah.
Which was great.
Yeah, that was...
Bacon sure burps good in the morning.
But that was that was unfortunate because it was Ed O'Neill right after Married with Children. Nobody could take his character seriously because it was.
I thought it was great. It was,
It's not bad. All the National Lampoons. I mean, his work is just everywhere. You have seen some of these movies. I was talking to somebody that was on the listener feedback. They're like, I've never seen any of them. Okay, we're going to
trust
talk
me,
about
you've
this, and I
seen
want you to. So
Well, I know this is interesting. Like they tasked him to write the next big National Lampoon hit after Animal House, and I think his first one just failed so miserably that they fired him. So then he wrote Vacation, and they rehired him.
Nice.
And made it.
But for that person that has never seen any of the John Hughes movies, I want everyone to go around the table because this isn't our main event. It's not in our main event. This will be one of the last things we do before we do listener feedback. Give our listeners your one choice of a movie that you think that they should see to get them interested in John Hughes. And I'm taking right off the top. I mean, we have our breakfast.
Do it.
Club
It's
solid.
okay.
I'm not doing. I know. I want to do Weird Science, which is I still think after all these years still holds up. The computer maybe not, but the comedy in it is just really brilliant.
It's Twisted Mary Poppins.
Kinda, yeah.
Yep.
On the telephone?
You
Oh,
want-
that line.
Who's
oh my
next?
gosh.
Me or him?
Let's start with Sean.
Him. Okay.
So I'm surprisingly not going to say the one that
The
we just
Breakfast Club.
discussed at length.
Watch
for a
Breakfast
while.
Club. We'll leave it at that.
That's just a given. So I'm going to say Some Kind of Wonderful.
Good movie.
Why?
Yeah. It's I think it provides more of the depth that PB and Jason is asking for, and I just think that it's it's just amazing performances all the way around. It's just wonderful.
Nice. Carl?
I'm still gonna stick with my favorite, which would be Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I think that it's just fun from beginning to end.
It's got it's just a little deep too.
Yeah, and that's the thing is it's so
Without
much,
pushing it.
Right, it's so much fun, but you can still get the most of his, like all of his movies, the learning message out of it. You still get the message out of it at the end.
Yeah, I mean the scene in the art gallery when he's staring at Sunday in the Park with George. If that
man,
doesn't tug at your
that is
heartstrings, you
beautiful.
have no
And that
soul.
music is perfect on
it's
it.
great.
And that movie still lends itself to being a good remake if someone ever
Oh
decided
no,
they wanted
no.
to.
And I will say this loud and proud: they should never redo any John Hughes movie.
But I think
agree.
that one could. Not saying they should.
I mean,
Saying
they
could.
tried the series. They tried.
Oh,
the
it's
TV
terrible.
Okay, that was
series.
horrible.
But once again, like we've always discussed, there's no way they could not politicize it the way that John Hughes didn't politicize anything.
If for the record, the series was bad because it was a bad knockoff of Parker Lewis Can't Lose.
That
All right,
had nothing
right
to
here,
do.
right here. There it is. There it is. Blasey been replaced.
Oh no. I would say Pretty in Pink, just because that one is, we kind of touched on it earlier, where it really gets deep into there about how there's kids out there that are just ignored, and it's not so much that anyone means to do it. It's just you get to that point where life around you is so hectic that some things are just forgotten in it.
Now, would people flip out if that was made today?
I don't think so.
Well, the long duck
I
dog
think-
character.
Yes.
No, he said Pretty in Pink.
No,
he didn't say
yes.
16
Oh,
Candles.
Yeah.
I apologize. Okay.
But I do agree with you that 16 Candles, like that, there are things
no
that just
way.
culturally cannot be done.
No.
now.
Same,
all.
same
I think
with
that
same with
honestly,
Weird
but it was
Science.
never done with malice. It was
Yeah. Well, no, I just don't think it matters now. I think that it would never fly. But
Yeah.
I do think that the point you're making is fair, that like you can go back and watch them and they'll still hold up because we understand when they were made. But if they're made now, no.
Weird Science is the same.
Yeah, no
way.
chance.
Yeah.
No chance.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so Ferris Bueller is also my favorite of his films. The most brilliant use of silence. If you watch
Oh,
that
yeah.
movie, silence in that movie is amazing. But the one that I would probably pick, and it's a tough choice, but I would probably pick Plane, Trains, and Automobiles.
Really?
Yeah, because I think that there is,
much.
because even though this was after his teen stuff, there is some of his absolute best dialogue writing in that movie. Like him at his dialogue best.
And his writing too, the sequence when Steve Martin starts putting it together, like I don't want to spoiler, but in
the
the
end,
very
yeah.
end when
Yeah.
he starts with,
It's the thing's 40
okay,
years
yeah,
old.
that's true. That's true. When he starts putting together where Dell's wife is, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
just, it is masterfully done, and it's masterfully done as a director, as a writer, and the performance that Steve Martin gives in that moment is beautiful. So
Right.
I
And the
agree.
chemistry between those two through that whole film
unreal.
is second to none.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that would be the one I would pick.
I want to say one more thing before we go on. I also want to add Ferris Bueller and thinking that Ferris doesn't exist.
I think he doesn't. I
does
love that
not
theory.
exist.
I
Yeah.
love that theory.
I didn't know they smoke crack at 30
Oh,
years old.
stop.
It's all in Cameron's head.
It makes so much sense when you watch it with that premise.
Yeah.
It honestly makes more sense. The movie makes more sense. Are you guys familiar with that theory?
No, I'm gonna go back and watch it now.
Okay, the whole-
No, I've heard the theory, but I dispel it with all the sister parts.
Yeah.
Because of the parts of sister, I don't know where Cameron would
Right.
have
Exactly.
imagined that part up. That's the only reason I've always blown that theory off.
And what happened was it was all a fever dream, and Cameron dies at the end from his cold.
Oh, stop. Stop. You ruined it. Okay, let's move on to our listener feedback.
And now, let's see what all of our geek rock stars have to say.
Okay, for our listener feedback today, we asked the question, which John Hughes character did you most identify with growing up, or which one do you most wish you were? And I think that we'll all probably want to pile on this one too. We have a lot. I had to cut these down, so If your feedbacks didn't get mentioned, I apologize, but
Yay for all the feedback, though.
oh
Yay.
no,
Keep it
thank you
coming.
guys for doing it. This makes our show so much better. It really does. Okay, so the first one, we actually had an Instagram one, so I have to do that one. Otherwise, Courtney's going to come through the microphone and stab me. So,
Yeah, you got to watch out for that.
you do. She's not pleasant
showed,
about that.
She showed me the knife.
I think she was on the last commercial. Okay, this was from Romaine Tyler. I'm guessing that's Tyler Romaines, but he's the one who made our cups. But yeah, good job. I definitely identified with Kevin from Home Alone as a mischievous and clever young sibling myself. Ferris was who I'd love to be as a teenager, though. Who didn't want to be calling sick for school and have an epic day of shenanigans? I know I did. Didn't we all? I mean, that was kind of the whole thing. He got away with whatever you want. That's why I think he's in that.
Some of us did do those things.
You know what? I don't like that me and you are on the same page here, Blythe, but we are. Okay, let's see. We have Dino from the podcast. I probably identified with Farmer Ted from 16 Candles growing up. He seemed to have a loyal group of friends, though far from being the most popular kid in school. And that one actually really related with me, too. Mm-hmm. You know, I could be friends with anybody, but I was never, like, the cool kid. He was the king of the nerds.
Right.
There was a different saying that they used, but we can't use that one on air. My buddy Skeeter said, I'm going to have to say it was a mix of Ferris and Keith from Some Kind of Wonderful. I will say Ferris because of my outgoing and fun personality, and Keith from Some Kind of Wonderful. I'm sorry. He abbreviated. I always had a girl of my dreams, and I was chasing down but could not win her heart, only to realize the love of my life was there in front of me.
As a kid,
I kind of want to throw up on
I
that
was
one,
Keith. Yeah. As a kid, I was very close to being Keith in a lot of ways. Yes.
Daniel Houston said probably Del Griffith. He was annoying, over the top, and messed up a lot, but he was lonely and carried a lot of pain while genuinely caring for others. Daniel, if you need to talk after this, PM me, man. I'm a little sad after reading that. Christina Belden said Neil. He is a personification of my outlook on life as a teenager. I totally related to him, not in the middle-aged man, but the outlook on life. And what 80s girl didn't want to be Lisa as a teenager from Weird Science?
What 80s boy didn't want Lisa?
Oh my gosh. We could talk about that movie literally all day long. I love that movie. Maybe then I wouldn't have related to Neil. Fair enough. Ilawani, I think I said that right. Ivalani. Gosh dang, I'm going to get it right one of these days. I pretty much lived Pretty in Pink when I was in high school, though I wanted Jake Ryan to be my boyfriend. You know what? I was a straight male, and I wanted Jake Ryan to be my boyfriend.
That right there was kind of an oxymoron, but that's okay.
Yeah, it's all good. And then our buddy Chris, the Green Korean from Twitter.
Oh, excellent.
From the...
Faces
and Aces. Thank you. We've been on that show like 3 times. I know, I'm terrible with names. And I listen to it every time it comes out. He identified with Lucky because he was a nice guy who was the girl's best friend. Wanted to be Ferris because everyone wanted to be cool, smooth, confident, clever as Ferris. Sort of like Cameron did, and that's why he imagined him. Oh, okay.
That did not happen.
You know, so long time ago, I remember crack commercials.
Oh, here
and
we
they
go.
said that it wasn't good for you, and that's showing itself.
The long effects.
Pee Wee Herman told me
Right.
not to do drugs.
Oh, that was the best one. We could do a show on those commercials. Those were so bad. But thanks to everybody for doing our listener feedbacks. You make the show a million times better, and I can't thank you enough.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very
So
much.
let's move on to our main event.
Now it's time for the main event.
Okay, for our main event, we did something kind of different this time, which is kind of cool, actually. What is our 5 favorite quotable lines from any of the John Hughes works? We went all over the board on these, so and
Now,
if we have to edit them, you guys understand why.
Let me say that we should probably just put out, because I don't think there are any F-bombs. I don't think
No,
there are
there's no
any.
F-bombs.
But let us put out in this section that we would like to be able to read these without editing, okay? So there may be a couple borderline words or what have
Well,
you.
I didn't use some of them because of those words. In fact, one of the ones on your list.
Right.
Yeah, I know. We all know which one we're talking about. My number 5 will be Ferris Bueller from Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Life moves pretty fast, and if you don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
You could.
And that, honestly, growing up, that was a very profound statement for me.
It is still a profound statement to this day.
Well, the older I get, the faster it's moving.
Yep.
Man.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Wow, I sound like a dad.
There's a poem where the old lady says that in her 80s that the years are whipping by like fence posts, and I just think about that whenever I hear that. It's just beautiful. All right, sorry. Sorry to bring the room down. So my
Thanks.
number 5 is Keith from Some Kind of Wonderful. I'm going out with a girl tonight, and she's beautiful, and everybody's in love with her, and she's going out with me, get it? And so I don't start agreeing with them. I'm going to go through with this date. I want to show this girl that I'm as good as anybody else.
With
Wow.
talking to John Ashton. John Ashton.
Yeah.
There's an Aston and an Ashton. I don't want to confuse them. So it's talking to his dad in
Yep.
the movie. Yeah.
Nice.
And mine is Bill Dancer from Curly Sue. You can cry and not feel sad, just like you can feel sad and not cry.
Oh, that's so good. That should have been mine. Damn you.
I feel like we're like a group of high school theater geeks right now.
What do you mean feel like?
Well, if we sat in with a bunch of high school theater geeks at this point, I think we'd get arrested.
My number 5 is from Keith Nelson, Some Kind of Wonderful. Then I'm 19, then I'm 20. When does my life belong to me?
Dude, same scene. That's awesome. That's awesome. That's great.
No, this is all killing me because I'm like, these are too profound for
I know all these
for the comedy show
all
that we
these
do.
all these beautifully profound quotes. My number 5 is from Lisa from Weird Science. Mary Poppins herself.
Say it in
Weird
her
Science.
voice.
Well, no, I can't do the luscious, sexy English accent that she does. Oh God, dude. Seriously, was she not the hottest thing for a while?
Yeah, not now.
Okay, so this is Lisa talking to Gary's father. There's going to be sex, drugs, rock and roll, chips, dips, chains, whips. Your basic high school orgy type thing. I mean, I'm not talking candle wax on the nipples or witchcraft or anything like that. No. Just a couple hundred kids running around in their underwear, acting like complete animals.
No, that the shock on his face when she says
Oh,
that
yeah.
line.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily the line; it's the delivery that was just so incredible.
I almost put a quote from the same scene when Anthony Michael Hall, because she asked what he does, and Anthony Michael Hall says, "Oh, my father's a plumber," and well, he's into plumbing, and I guess you plumb, right, Dad? that is so because he's so
fantastic
nervous.
My number 4, pardon my French, but Cameron is so tight that if you stuck a lump of coal up his butt, in 2 weeks later, you'd have a diamond. Once again, Ferris Bueller from Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I relate way too much to that, I think.
That's awesome. Yeah. All right. Mine is Breakfast Club, Andrew Clark. We're all pretty bizarre. Some of us are just better at hiding it. That's all.
And then you go do a podcast.
That's right.
You really
That's
get
right.
that after
That's
that.
right. Yeah.
Mine too is also from Breakfast Club. It was John Bender. Screws fall out all the time. The world is an imperfect place.
No, I mean, he was so cool whenever he delivered a line.
Excuse me, sir. Why would anyone want to see a little screw?
Oh. Wah, wah. Everybody wanted to be able to pull off one-liners like that.
Yeah.
Couldn't. Tried. Wasn't very good at it.
My number 4 is Principal Vernon from The Breakfast Club. Spend a little more time trying to make something of yourself and a little less time trying to impress people. I think that's something that really holds up today in our current society. That everyone's trying to get as many likes and get as many things as they can.
Speaking of which, like our Facebook page.
Man, boys, kudos, man, because that line could easily have been overlooked and dismissed because it was the villain saying it. You know
but
what I mean?
he was
So, like,
right.
it was just
But
great.
I think as much as he's portrayed a villain in that
He wasn't.
movie, he's not. He's a teacher. He's
trying to help.
He's a teacher. He's a principal, and I think in the end of it, he just wants what's best for the kids. Yeah, he was a.
And Ferris is
he
a
doesn't
jerk.
make sure no one gets the horns.
That's right.
2 months.
2 months ago.
You're mine.
Okay, so my number 4 would be just about any line that Elizabeth McGovern, who played Christy and She's Having a Baby, said. She had a bunch like to Alec Baldwin. When Alec Baldwin said, "You're the only one I've ever loved," and she's like, "No, you're the only one you've ever loved."
Oh,
and the whole scene when Kevin Bacon is like, "What if the shoe was on the other foot?" She's like, "I'd go barefoot." So she just had. She was like the most
zinger after zinger.
Kevin Bacon tears off in the car, leaving her when she's gonna have the baby, and then he realizes he forgot her. He comes back. She's like, "Thanks for coming to get me, sweetie." She just was so together in that movie. All of you who have not seen that movie in a while, talk about it, see again, see that one. It's worth it.
Fair enough. My next one's another one from Weird Science, and this is another Lisa quote because she was so quotable. Oh my gosh, the BB King thing in there. Okay, I'm stop. Okay, Lisa says, "If you ever get the chance, shower with them. I did. It's a mind scrambler. Hurts so good." That is so 80s. That is the most 80s line in the world. And it's beautiful in every
more
possible
80s how
way.
you said it.
And I tried.
And when I was younger, that little brunette was
cuter
than Kelly LeBrock.
Oh, yeah.
In my estimation. So
no, she was not.
Oh, yes, she was.
I would say she was probably only cuter at that point for us because she was closer to what you thought.
She was attainable.
She was more achievable. More attainable. Exactly.
She was rocking the Madonna thing. So,
this is true.
Whatever. Anyway. All right. Is that me? That's me.
you.
Sorry. All right. 3 is, did we decide that we can or cannot say lower grade swear
Go
words?
ahead.
Okay.
I'll edit it for you.
Lower grade.
is B-list swear words, as it were. Duncan from Some Kind of Wonderful. I'm here to kick your ass, and you know it, and everybody here knows it, and above all, you deserve it. In fact, I think it's safe to say that this party is about to become a historical fact.
That actor's name always escapes me.
I can't remember.
I know
either,
he
but
played
was Casey Jones.
Casey Jones, and he's been in a few
Yeah,
things.
he's been in a lot of stuff, and I'm blanking on his name.
Right.
Love him. He's fantastic.
Mine is Ted from 16 Candles. Can I borrow your underpants for 10 minutes?
Is that the line, or do you need my underpants?
Well,
Both.
My number 3 is from Ferris Bueller, said by Ferris. A person should not believe in an ism. He should believe in himself.
Yes. Bly's with all the real good, deep lines.
and he's the guy that doesn't like John Hughes.
Yeah, I don't believe in Beatles. I just believe in me.
All right, my number 3, also from Duncan from Some Kind of Wonderful, to Keith when Keith asks, "Is this detention?" And Duncan very slyly says, "Actually, this is your mother's house, and we're having a party."
The first of your mama jokes that we're all exposed to. No.
When they were still not friends. They became friends after.
So number 2, this one's from The Breakfast Club. Does Barry Manilow know that you rate his wardrobe?
It's such a good line. It's such a good line.
That is such a character builder. That was every bit the "I know, I love you, I know" line that he delivered right there. It's an important line for his character. Otherwise,
It's great. It's great. And it was one of those things, too, where it was the aha moment for the audience when you see the outfit and you're like,
I get it.
Yeah. All right. Number 2 is Ferris Bueller from Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I do have a test today. That wasn't BS. It's on European socialism. I mean, really, what's the point? I'm not European. I don't plan on being European. So who gives a crap if they're socialists? They could be fascist anarchists. It still doesn't change the fact that I don't own a car.
But he's got a computer.
This is true. Mine is Gary from Weird Science. Maybe it was a dream. A very weird, bizarre, vivid, erotic, wet, detailed dreams. Maybe we have malaria.
My number 2 is from Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. I'm not going to do the whole thing because it's really long, but it's the speech that John Candy gives when they're in the hotel room. And Steve Martin
Says he
cheers
likes
him out.
himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a beautiful, beautiful
I
bit
like
of
me,
dialogue.
my wife likes me. Oh,
Yeah.
So good.
So well written.
Yeah. After the incredibly funny bit that Steve Martin does right before that, tearing him down. Yes. That's why that movie is so good. Those contrasts are amazing. Okay, my number 2, any line by Jennifer Grey's Jeannie Bueller in Ferris Bueller. I mean, she was uptight, PMS bipolar, angry, everything
And in
that
love
came-
with Charlie Sheen.
everything that came out of her mouth. Especially what she told Charlie Sheen to do with his thumb.
Wow.
And his response, his nonverbal response,
Yeah.
was genius.
Yes. That scene is just, again, she has some of the best lines when she's on the phone. She's like, do you know where she is? Well, do you know when she will be back? Do you know anything? She's just great.
I wonder where Charlie Sheen got the inspiration to play a drug-addled, disturbed kid. I
Robert
wonder
Downey
where he
Jr.?
got that from. I think they were at the same dealer. Okay, this last one, I'm not gonna do the whole thing, and I'll put it up on the Facebook page. But it's the last little monologue from Breakfast Club, and there's one part in particular that I want to kind of highlight just because of what Jason said earlier. But I think this is because I think it's kind of a you see us as you want to see us in the simplest terms and the most convenient definitions. But what we found out is each one of us has a brain, an athlete, and a basket case, a princess and a criminal. Does that answer your question? Sincerely yours, The Breakfast Club. What you were saying earlier with it's the boiled down simple, and that's really, I think, the point of the movie.
Yeah,
because
probably.
that's how you see them when they come in is this boiled down, and then as you get to know the characters, they're a lot deeper than that.
Yeah.
But I say that whole monologue, that was like I memorized that one in high school, so it was because I was a theater nerd, so yeah.
All right, my number one is Ducky from Pretty in Pink because in high school I wanted to be Ducky. Shut up, Kodge, I know you're laughing.
No, he's not listening, so it's okay.
You think he's not?
Andy, you came here alone. Okay, you're right. He's not like the others. If you don't go to him now, I'm never taking you to another prom again. You hear me? This is an incredibly romantic moment, and you're ruining it for me. It's in the end when he lets the girl go to a
character I've never really liked as an actor or anything.
Yeah,
and
he gets the girl.
Andrew
Well, the
McCarthy.
Ducky character was played so brilliantly in the Not Another Teen movie.
Oh, yeah.
It was to the extreme and
The
a little mean, but I thought it really
I loved it,
was
yeah.
Ducky.
Ducky getting the girl in the end was an afterthought. It was something John Hughes came up with while they were filming because he just couldn't do that to Ducky. He had to let Ducky
Andrew
have a W.
Andrew McCarthy had that run in films.
Yeah.
I do not understand how that guy got so many lead man.
I want to know where Jake
Mannequin
Ryan
wasn't bad.
went.
Mannequin wasn't bad, but all right. That's
Yeah,
mine.
it kind of was. Upon second viewing.
My number one is from Ferris Bueller. It's Ferris. First of all, you can never go too far. Second of all, I'm not going to be caught. Not going to be by a guy like that.
Yeah, that's
Fair enough.
My number one is from Planes, Trains, and Automobiles again, and it is.
I'm seeing a theme here.
I'm not gonna say it because Dub would have to edit too much into it. But it's the
Rental
scene-
car diatribe.
Yes, rental car scene after he finds out that his has been taken. And
We'll
then
put a clip of it on the YouTube clip of it up
Yeah,
on the page.
18 f-bombs
And
yeah, I don't want to
in a PG-13 movie.
and this is a good segue to my number one because he's saying that diatribe to Edie McClurg,
yes,
who in several of his films has like show stealing moments. She has one in that scene, her final line,
Yeah.
and that is great. Leading me to my number one, which is by Edie McClurg, but in Ferris Bueller's Day Off, she plays Grace, Ed Rooney's secretary, and they're discussing Ferris Bueller. And she says, I'm going to sort of try to do her voice on this one because it helps. Oh, he's very popular, Ed. The sportos, motorheads, geeks, sluts, bloods, wastoids, dweebies. They all love him. They all adore him. They think he's a righteous dude.
You nailed her voice on that.
Well, I've seen that
Amazing.
so many times, man.
amazing.
Nice. Well, that is a show, guys. There's so much more we could get to this. Do yourself a favor, rent a John Hughes movie and rewatch it. I think they're on everything.
Oh, yeah.
With my landslide win, do I get the outro?
You get to do the outro.
Nice. Are we ready for this? Are we there?
No, we're not there yet.
Okay,
We'll get
cool.
there in a second.
We're moving.
Okay. So check out the Facebook page. Go to the Twitter page. Go to the Instagram. Instagram with us. I guess that's what we do. Go to the website, www.iheartgeekshow.com. Use the com.
we paid
paid
extra
for
for
it.
it.
Someone paid
Someone got it
something
right.
for it.
Okay, and until next time, I'm Dub.
I'm the bearded wonder.
I'm Carl.
I'm Blythe.
I'm PB and Jason.
And the winner gets to say it.
You see us as you want to see us. In the simplest terms, the most convenient definitions, you see us as the black geek, the YouTube guy, the grump, the captain, and the beard. Sincerely yours, keep on geeking on.
Wow, I
loved
can't
it.
top that. You win.
I am not a grump.
You deserve that win.
You've been listening to iHeartGeek. Our Twitter account is @iHeartGeekShow. Hope you enjoyed the show.